Hello and welcome back to Robot Rebellion. It's the penultimate heat of the series before we move on to the round of 16. We will get into the action very shortly, but first a recap of what happened last time. The ever-deadly end boss showed why it is the number 2 overall seed. It killed Ares, it killed Han the Hammer, and it killed Deja too. The other 3 didn't know what hit them. This tied up the heat, and it meant a rumble would decide who would move on to the play-in rumbles. It was Deja 2 who got the judges' nod in the end. They move on to the play-ins. Who will join them and who will join End Boss? We'll find out. Each heat is broken down like this. 4 robots enter into a mini-league, all one-on-one battles where they fight each other once. The winner at the end of the night goes through to the round of 16, with second place going through to the play-ins nearer the end of the series. If at the end of the heat there is a tie, there will be a rumble to decide who goes through to the next round. The competitors in Heat K of the competition are the number 4 overall seed Schism, Rudimental, Attitude Adjuster and Paradigm Spin. It's the night of the hammersaw. 2 of them in the competition, a lifter and a shell spinner, and there they are all lined up in the table. That table will move up and down as points are awarded. I'm excited for this one. Who knows what will happen, but I'm eager to get the fighting started. So without further ado, our first battle tonight sees the number 4 seed Schism, Jack Tweedy's hammersaw robots. The experience all the way for Jack, but it's untested in combat, this robot. Team Nebula hoping to bring the pain with Schism. They are going up against fellow hammersaw Attitude Adjuster. Scott Anderson brings the Scottish pride, but there might be too many setups to choose from. Hopefully, Scott's picked the right one. We join these 2 down in the arena. Loading into the box, we have a type matchup, what I like to call them. 2 robots with the same weapon type going head to head. In the yellow here, we have Attitude Adjuster. This is a prior Norwalk competitor, competed last year, I believe, last May, in a rookies event. Did okay, didn't set the world alight, but has done much better over here in the UK since. Very excited to see this fight because it is going up against another hammersaw type robot in Schism, the seed of the heat, built by Jack Tweedy. Here is Schism then. Those of you who have seen Battlebots, it's a very Sawblaze looking robot. It's very, very cool. I'm a big fan of its look. These 2 robots are looking to do the same thing to each other. Get the forks in underneath, spin up and hit using that hammersaw weapon. The kinetic energy that's going to be unloaded here is going to be awesome. So Schism in the red square. Attitude Adjuster in the blue.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, begin.
Here we go then, quick out of the gates is Schism, spinning up to speed with its saw weapon. Attitude Adjuster doing well to get away.
Attitude Adjuster will try and get that hammersaw down and take out the arm of Schism, but Schism is the seed for this heat. Manages to get on, and so far controlling the battle. Control, don't forget, is a vital criteria. This does go to the judges. I think the hammersaw has stopped there on Attitude Adjuster, which is a bit of a worry. The arm might still work, but I think the spinner has definitely stopped. And I wonder if that will affect them in negative light going on forward in this battle. Rolling over now, though.
Quite versatile weapons, though, these hammersaws, because you can use them as a hammer and as a saw.
And
it's
in that
the hammer
case, the lifter
that has done the job.
Fantastic
Attitude
work.
Adjuster throws Schism out of the arena, an outcome I didn't see coming today.
Yeah, that's a huge surprise to me. Fantastic driving there by Scott Anderson, able to use his machine to get them against side wall and using their hammer to flip it out the arena, which I think is a first in Beetleweights.
All right, Scott, how well do you think that went? Because Tweedy is not a very, how do you say, safe.
I was terrified.
Schism is a very scary looking robot.
We, because we're very evenly matched up. I've taken a lot from his robot, he's taken a lot from me, so he's a very kind of worthy competitor. We both had issues there, so I lost my disc and he lost his arm. And so fortunately I managed to get him out of the arena. I'd made some updates to the arm to make it more powerful, and they've paid off. So I'm very pleased. I was very nervous about fighting 2D, and so I'm glad
to be honest, who isn't really? Like,
Yeah.
have you seen his robots? They are
They are
scary.
terrifying. So we're one each. So I got him last year at Rapture. So same time next year.
Same time next year. So, well, fingers crossed. I mean, I've seen Attitude Adjuster kind of grow with you as a roboteer. I was at the first event that you were at, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we had the same first event together, and then we fought in the same heat of the first Rapture
yes.
as well. So a lot of respect for you as a roboteer.
Likewise, I look up to you in Attitude Adjuster, and I just keep seeing better and better things from you. And,
Thank you. And yeah, this is basically all new, so I was very nervous going into the fight that it wouldn't work, but it all did what it was supposed to do. So
well, it did its thing very well.
it
And
adjusted Tweedy's attitude.
I like that. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to not tell him that because I'm scared of him. No, very well done, Scott.
Thank you.
That is a very good win, and I look forward to seeing you do exactly the same in the next one.
Thank you.
Battle 2 tonight sees Rudimental, Stuart Brown bringing the lifter. It's very well driven but entirely printed. That could be a downside as this thing might just blow up. They are going up against the full body spinner of Paradigm Spin. This robot last competed a few years ago. Mark Millers has returned it to put their other competitors in a spin. Magnets are the secret to their strength this time round, but self-righting could be an issue. How will that go against the lifter? We'll find out. Being loaded into the box next, we have Rudimental. This is a very sleek-looking lifter robot. They've got their horizontal configuration on, ready to take the blows from their opponent in this fight. They are going to be starting in the red square. Their opponents then, Paradigm Spin, the competition's only shell spinner. In fact, I think is the only shell spinner in the Beetleweight scene here in the UK. It's a very cool robot. I'm a big fan of this thing. It last competed 2 years ago at the first event we did here, had a year off, is back now. I'm very excited to see this thing in action.
Yeah, didn't fare too well in that tournament, but he's had a year to get it working, get it running again, so fingers crossed. We should see it turn some heads here in this tournament. My worry is that that wedge is the perfect configuration for a horizontal like this to deflect those big hits, but
We could see Paradigm Spin go flying here.
we could see. We'll be like a crazy frisbee, and I'll enjoy that, so.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, begin.
Here we go then, Paradigm Spin up to speed and already wildly out of control.
That's their victory dance, I'm guessing, although I'm not too sure they're meant to be having it right now when they haven't won the fight yet. Paradigm Spin struggling to control that spinner there. So that attachment on top of the machine is meant to be a sort of way of deciding where it goes, I believe, or at least the lights on the front certainly are.
Yeah, directional indicators there and a self-righter as well if they get turned upside down. It is up to speed well though.
Yeah, it's definitely so. Spinning well up to speed. To be honest, it's whisper quiet. You wouldn't know it was spinning up if you didn't know better.
Enable.
But it's not managing to cause damage. Those horizontal deflectors are managing
Going
to
down.
withstand those hits as we thought they might early on,
Going
Gemma.
down.
Ping-ponging all around the arena. We'll need to be careful of the open pit here.
And I don't think they're going to be. Oh!
Bouncing over the top of it. Wonderful gymnastics from Paradigm Spin.
I've heard-
Oh, and a huge hit. Could have seen Rudimental down, but amazing evasive action from Rudimental.
And the angry spinning top going
It's
flying
bouncing all around. The
arena.
link has gone. I
The link
believe
is
that
gone.
is it.
And that is it.
The lights are off. Nobody's home. Rudimental takes the win.
I've heard of walking on water, but we're going over the pit like that. I think that's a first.
When you go home, tell them you saw UFOs fly today.
That was the epitome of madness.
So, how well did that go?
So my objective going into the competition was to pinball around the arena.
Yeah.
If it did that, I counted that as a success, and it did it. So it's a win.
So you're in, yeah.
Except it
I'll change my result then.
it was
win.
It was uncontrolled the whole time, and eventually smashed the link mount, and the link came out. So I lost by the link coming out. But it was going okay until that happened.
So what is this made of?
This is HCPE, so CNC machined
Is it?
shell. Yeah, and then it's a CNC aluminium chassis. with lots of magnets.
How-
But even with the magnets, it was bouncing around.
How do you fight something like this? Because the unpredictability for you as a driver,
Yeah.
how do you factor that in against other competitors?
I'm still learning, to be honest. I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I was kind of hoping that the chaos of it would go in my favour. You know, it might bounce off a wall, but then it might bounce into the opponent. But I went into that with the strategy of I'm just going to give it lots of throttle and keep the weapon spinning.
just go for it.
Yeah, and
balls to the
I think
wall.
that led to more chaos, and probably a bit more cautious would help. But
I mean,
I don't know.
in all fairness, you've got a pretty decent heat here. I mean, Schism lost that previous fight against Attitude Adjuster. Scott's a very good roboteer. Tweedy's a very good roboteer.
Exactly. Yeah, those two bots are really good.
And if anything, I think you've still got it all to play for because, well, in all fairness, use that unpredictability, you might surprise yourself. I think you kind of bank on the unpredictability anyway, but it's just a shame that I've never seen this before, having the link in the...
It's the only place that's safe to get to for a full body spinner because there's not many shell spinners, so you don't see it very often. But I went with a screw-on cap to hold it in this time. Last time it was just pushed in, and on self-righting it flung out. So the cap held it in until the cap smashed. So I need a tougher material for my
Well,
big fight.
fingers crossed that your confidence will boost going into the next fight.
Oh, that's mine, thank you.
The weapon lock.
Yeah.
Yeah, fingers crossed that your confidence will boost going into your next fights and hope you can rein it back.
Cool.
Very impressive.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Looking at the table after round 1 of battling, and it's already all changed as Rudimental and Attitude Adjuster top the table at 1 point apiece. Schism and Paradigm Spin left at the bottom of the table looking for answers and points in this competition. The seeds a little bit nervy perhaps, but that could all change as they are about to fight next, as Schism will take on Paradigm Spin. Schism was thrown out of the arena in their first battle. They're going to be looking for swift answers here, and they have told me that they have a setup against the horizontals, so looking forward to seeing what Schism brings. Paradigm Spin, meanwhile, ejected its own removable link, an impressive feat, that is for sure. The traction might well be good, unless they're of course flying across the arena, as they were in their first battle. We see if they can hold onto the ground for dear life now. Okay, loaded into the box in the red square we have Paradigm Spin, and in the blue square it is Schism. I had about 5 names run through my head then. Schism. Both of these had unfortunate losses. One decided to become a UFO, go flying through the air. The other decided to take a hike out of the arena by means of a hammer.
Yes, that makes little to no sense,
3,
but I'm all here for it.
2,
Interesting setup
1.
on Schism in this fight.
Begin.
They've got their sort of protective TPU wedge on, hoping to deflect Paradigm Spin, and from what we're seeing, the pinball game has begun.
I was about to say Paradigm Spin looks very much more controlled in this fight, but
No,
that
doesn't.
ended very, very
And
quickly.
it's over. It
And
has just flung its link out.
Seeds.
it spent more of that fight in the air than it did on the actual ground, I think. But that is a win for Schism.
You've got to laugh, haven't you?
How well did that go?
About as well as it could have gone.
You have a very nasty looking robot, a very nasty looking spinner, and
Thanks.
how do you fight a full body spinner like that?
Well, when it's driven by someone like Mark who pins the throttle to max, you just tap it and hope that it flies, which it
Yeah,
did.
he did mention something about unpredictability earlier
Yeah.
when I interviewed him. Tell us a bit about Schism, because is this an all new build?
Yeah, this is its
completely
first
brand
event.
new?
Yeah, every single thing in it is new apart from the weapon motor. I've never used anything else in there. So it's an experiment on all fronts.
And how are you feeling going into next fights with a brand new setup? Because I've spoken to a lot of roboteers and they're still kind of uncertain, but from your previous fights, I know Attitude just won the last fight against you.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Scott's a good roboteer, so
Yeah, he threw me out of the arena.
he did.
with
That's
a hammer
correct.
saw.
Yes.
That's not meant to happen.
So, what can you tell me about fighting with a robot like this and how it operates? What What do you target most when you bring down this massive hammersaw?
Realistically, it's a control bot first and a hammersaw second. Ideally, I can either control someone into the pit, or if I have to, I'll use the hammersaw to knock someone out, but it's realistically whatever I can get to with the hammersaw. It's quite short reach, so I don't really have much opportunity
Damage
to pick
is
my points.
an afterthought, essentially.
It's the primary objective, but it's also a secondary out for me. The control comes first.
Did you take any damage on that?
There's a couple of scratches.
There's a bite here.
Yeah,
Plough.
there's a few scratches, but apart from that, it just bounced off,
Yeah.
which is great.
What is this?
There's TPU.
Flexible.
Yeah. It's horrendously underweight with it.
Is it?
It's 200 under. I was trying to source an ant.
What, to go in with
Yeah.
it?
No one had one they didn't care about.
Well, the win is a win, and
Yeah.
fingers crossed. You're one of the big names in this, I think. So,
Thank you.
all to play for, I think.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Battle 4 tonight sees Attitude Adjuster return to the arena. At the top of the table at the moment, the hammersaw definitely is flying the flag for Scotland. They are proud of you too, Scott, I'm perfectly sure of that. Attitude Adjuster will be facing other top of the table robot Rudimental, who lifted Paradigm Spin up and away in their first battle. This is going to be a tough battle for them though. The long forks are out in force. We join them in the arena. Being loaded into the box at the moment is the winners from this heat so far. We have Rudimental, who looks completely different to how it did in its first fight. That low, sleek, red look has changed to a orange, heavy armoured, long forked look. It's an interesting change, but it makes sense when you look at their opponent for this fight, which is Scott Anderson with Attitude Adjuster. This thing won its first fight by throwing Jack Tweedy's Schism out of the arena using that hammer to great advantage, despite the fact his spinner wasn't working. Still dominant in that fight.
Yeah, definitely so. Very good driving from Scott Anderson in the last round. It's going to be interesting, this one, because both these machines are well driven. I'm not too sure who's going to clinch it. I guess we should just let fate find out.
Perhaps it will be a game of whose forks are longer. Perhaps we'll see locking forks, perhaps we'll see a lift. Who knows what we're going to see in this one. I'm looking forward to it. The two robots waving to each other from across the box. I think they're ready.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, begin.
Here we go then. Cagey start from both of these robots.
Yeah.
We didn't notice that.
Neither
Attitude
was-
Adjuster getting in with the forks to start with and managing to get right in the good spot, bringing that hammersaw over and doing something to the underside of Rudimental.
Yeah, sparks certainly flying there as well. I'm not too sure what damage was done there by the spinner of Attitude Adjuster, but it definitely got some hits in. Oh, and you can hear it slicing into the plastic armor. There's a slice in one of those front wedges, and now bringing it into the base plate again.
Spinning up once again, he can hold this pin for 10 seconds and keep hitting. And he's away again now, slamming into the arena floor.
The noise these machines make, this shows you how powerful they are, despite how small they are. They can fit in a
Going
backpack,
down.
but they are lethal and very, very
Going down.
dangerous.
Up till now, we've not seen Rudimental get a lift, but there is half of one.
It was very, very close, but managed to just balance on its one little wheel there and survive. Now they're dancing around the pit. Good driving there by Scott Anderson to get away from the danger zone. He wasn't comfortable being that close to the pit. Obviously, Rudimental is a very good pusher, and it was a bit close. And trying now to do that same tactic they did earlier in the tournament, use their hammer arm to get them out the arena. Didn't work on that occasion, though.
Attitude Adjuster with just all of the aggression at the moment. They're doing so well in this fight, but they need to watch their control because any second Rudimental could turn around and push them down the pit.
That is the thing with this sport, ladies and gentlemen. Anything can happen at any second. A robot may be winning, and then out of nowhere in a split second, the table's completely turned. But at the moment, this has all been Attitude Adjuster.
Yeah, absolutely. Rudimental's doing well to self-right, but getting away from trouble is Attitude Adjuster now. Rudimental very nearly rope-a-doped them into the pit.
And trying, I think they were trying to get them towards the pit. Rudimental just got off the forks at the right time. You can hear the spinner coming up to speed.
Huge hit and nice gash in the top of Rudimental.
It doesn't
6,
sound like it's doing
5,
much, but trust me, it's
4,
doing some serious
3,
damage.
2, 1.
And that's going to be the fight. It's going to go to the judges. A great fight from these two robots. Judge Ryan is on his feet. He's going to check on things.
Judge Ryan doesn't want to actually judge that one. He's run off.
To make sure that this fight is judged effectively and correctly, Head Judge Ryan requested that the Roboteers bring their robots over to the judging table to be assessed for damage. Here we see them assessing said damage, and me being nosy.
Right, the judge's decision is in for the fight prior to that one, Rudimental versus Attitude Adjuster. It took them a long time to come to a decision, but they have come to a unanimous decision for Attitude Adjuster. And I'm sure if we turn their mic on, our head Judge Ryan will be happy to explain why that was the case.
Yeah, I think for most people in the audience, the winner was probably quite clear. Attitude Adjuster dominated on aggression, it dominated on control, and when we looked at the robots, we were really not trying to work out the winner, but work out the score. So we were checking to see how effective those weapon hits actually were, what damage they managed to do, how close they were to getting to critical parts. We as judges are always learning, always practicing, so we want to make sure that we go through that full process every time. And it's also a great way for us to test the system that we're using, because if we have these fights where they are, even if a little bit one-sided, we can still be looking at those categories and just making sure that we are judging it the right way every time. That's why the extra little bit of drama there to actually take a look at them.
Thank you, Head Judge Ryan. Here are the point standings at the end of round 2 of battling, and it's Attitude Adjuster who has climbed their way to the top of the table at 2 points, undefeated as yet. Rudimental and Schism mid-table now at 1 point apiece, and Paradigm Spin is still looking for that elusive win, and the ground usually. It's going to be an interesting one for sure the rest of this episode, as Schism is now set to take on Rudimental in their final fight. They need this win. The winner of this battle will move on to the play-in rumble. Schism cannot now logistically win the heat, which is interesting. The same can be said for Rudimental, in fact, as both robots have lost to Attitude Adjuster. So with this last chance on the line, both robots are going to be gunning for it. Who will win it? We'll find out now. Loaded into the box, we have Rudimental in the blue square, has had a decent run so far, but needs this win. Schism also looking for another win. 1-1 apiece for these two robots.
3,
I think.
2, 1. Begin.
Here we go then, locking forks at the start of this match are Rudimental and Schism.
Rudimental, I thought for a second they had the ground game, but Schism seeming to get underneath them a little bit easier now. Both machines just trying to feel each other out here, but Schism with a good drive, they're managing to pin Rudimental against the arena sidewall.
And doing so, getting ready to spin up and hitting. Rudimental's used to that sort of hit from their earlier fight against Attitude Adjuster.
Yes, definitely so. When did the judges that one? Rudimental did last to the end, so they won't be too worried about that. What I think they're more worried about is just how much they're being controlled around the arena at the moment.
Yeah, that's a bad place to get hit as well, right in all the mechanisms and everything.
Yeah, especially in the back of the robot where the robot is most exposed.
That sounded tasty.
That was a very, very big hit there by Schism onto the back of Rudimental. Rudimental managing to get away, though.
Parts have flown everywhere here. Rudimental is in a spot of bother.
I think
that lifter is stuck up in the air. Or is that a strategy? I'm not sure.
I'm not 100% sure myself. If it is a strategy, it's a bit of an odd one, to be honest, considering how much the robot can still be hit.
Oh, to be in the mind of a roboteer to know what on earth is going on in there. But I can see what Schism is trying for. It's the same maneuver Attitude Adjuster did to them earlier on.
Going down.
That could well be it, though, if the weapon is down on Rudimental, which it seems to be. They're pinned against the sidewall, and that is going to be it.
Seems.
KO victory there for Schism.
One final fight tonight will decide if Attitude Adjuster goes undefeated in battle. They're currently sitting at 2-0. Can they defeat the Whirling Dervish, the utter sheer chaos force of Paradigm Spin? Paradigm Spin, they're looking for a win, they're looking for pride, but more importantly, they're still looking for the ground. It's around there somewhere, guys, keep looking. Attitude Adjusters say they've got a new setup. Let's take a look at it in the box. Loading into the box, we have Attitude Adjuster with a new axe setup, taking on Paradigm Spin, the ultimate UFO. Looking forward to seeing it pinball all around once again.
It's a very salty spinning top. Let's put it that way.
Yes. It's the not Helter Skelter. What am I thinking?
Robot
Carousel.
Stand by.
The killer carousel. Yeah.
3, 2,
Now with added
One.
foam.
begin.
Here we go then. The pinball game begins. It's 20 points for hitting a wall. Attitude Adjuster doing everything it can just to hold it at bay. Some very aggressive spinning hits there, though.
Yeah, definitely so. Paradigm Spin actually managing to stay on its wheels for the part of this fight, although I think that might be because the spinner has stopped. Oh no, it's spinning back at the speed again.
It's just spinning so quietly.
It's spinning so quietly and it's so smooth as well. I really hope they can get at least one win here tonight. The link is staying in place and they're staying well balanced despite being pushed around by that spinner deflecting wedge on Attitude Adjuster.
Managing to get that spinner stopped, and there it goes, the uncontrollable UFO.
It righted
goes
itself
flying.
very well, though. Managing to stay. Oh,
that's the sort of thing we like to see from Paradigm Spin.
There we go.
All over the shop, now doing a disco dance for the
Going down.
after party of this event.
Managing to land on its wheels once again, though. They've definitely managed to improve their control game.
Now,
Nearly throwing
you were
themselves
saying
in the
about
pit.
improving control there. Did manage to stop on a dime, and that is impressive from Paradigm Spin.
Very, very impressive.
The
indeed.
weapon is down once again, and that could be it.
I think there might once again be a link problem here. Oh, no, it is
Drive
still
is still
moving.
kind of going.
Drive is still kind of going, but the weapon, I think, has given up the ghost at this point. And
Being pushed into a wall now and being punctured in that foam. Look at the damage.
The damage. Now, can that big axe of Attitude just to come down and do any meaningful damage to the shell there of
More to the
Paradigm
point, will it
Spin?
need to? It looks like it's all over for Paradigm Spin. The spin spins no more, and it's being counted out. Attitude Adjuster is your winner. Wins the heat, 3-0.
That was a very, very good fight. Fantastic battle. Two really entertaining machines. Both of them deserved a huge round of applause there. But at the end of the day, it's Attitude Adjuster that just come out on top.
Scott, that was impressive.
Thank you. When I eventually got it going, I lost the link, so I had to unscrew the lid before the fight. But it was a tough match, actually.
It was a very good fight.
He sorted out his reliability. I think putting the link in a big bit of foam actually helped out for him. And it was pretty close in the middle, but then, yeah, he just lost the weapon and then lost drive. But 3-0.
Yeah, you took off the spinner.
Yep.
To put on the axe. I assume to put on the massive wedge on the
Put on the
front.
massive wedge. So I could later put the spinner and the wedge on, but I couldn't be bothered changing a load of stuff to try and make it fit. So I just thought, whack on the arm.
That worked very well in your favour. Did you come away with any considerable damage?
So it was
on
mostly damage to the corners.
To the sticker.
The sticker. Yeah, that's been adjusted. Up here as well. That's all new. This corner is new. It doesn't quite sit flush anymore. So I may need to have a look at that. So yeah, he actually did quite. It's like I managed to do a good job, I think, of keeping the front pointed at and also the sides as well.
A few nibbles over here.
A few nibbles. I think he got the wheel as well at some point. So I was actually worried in the middle because it was he was relentless, and normally he did in his previous fights he kind of done a bit of a Beyblade and been a bit uncontrollable, but he put that big bit of foam in the end to stop his link from coming out, which worked really well.
Wise choice. Right?
So yeah, until he lost drive at the end, it was a tough one.
But that was fun. I really enjoyed that. That was a good old-fashioned tussle.
It's a good tussle, and so yeah, 3-0. I didn't imagine that I would do that.
Incredible
run.
An incredible run.
Really, really pleased with how it's gone.
If you mind if I say, but a true contender, I think.
I don't want to have the commentator's curse. I think I've not faced.
Oh no, what have I done? I'm not a commentator, so I'm just doing the post-fight interviews.
But so Sam pointed that out and said, it's been a good run, but I haven't faced any of the big birds.
Yes.
So Gizmo, N-Boss, Icebreaker I lost to last time at Bristol, and of course Baby Shrek. I think there's some scary opponents out there, so I don't want to...
It is an incredibly difficult field this year.
Yeah, I'm just happy with I'm happy to have won the heat, gone 3-0, and Yeah, we'll see what tomorrow brings.
Well, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
I wish you all the best, Scott. That was very good.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Very proud.
With that final battle complete, let's take a look at the scores. Attitude Adjuster wins the heat on 3 points, undefeated in battle and proving themselves to be the better hammersaw. Schism finishes in second place and will go through to the play and rumbles on 2 points, Rudimental on 1, and Paradigm Spin flies away into deep, deep space, there to head to its own planet, where the population, I hear, don't actually like winning. Robot Rebellion will return next week for the final heat of this series before we move into the round of 16. Until then, thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, do subscribe, and we'll see you next time.